We are on our way to the region of Cappadocia in central Turkey, a wonderland where tens of thousands of people lived in cave dwellings and underground towns. On the way we have stopped off at this Roman theatre. It is one of the 119 surviving theatres in Turkey, and the most intact. As with all Roman theatres, the acoustics are superb. The stone construction reflects the sound and the shape directs it upwards, so that even the slightest sound can be heard right at the back. Whirling dervishes are monks who believe that the act of whirling round and round, often for hours at a time, brings you closer to God. This is the monastery of the dervishes, which is now a museum dedicated to their religion. Whirling dervishes are still with us, but their numbers have diminished over the years. Here at the museum you can see the cells in which they once lived, visit their graves and learn more about their daily lives. Today we are visiting a Caravista, which was a fortified resting place for the camel trains that used the Silk Road. Caravistas were located about 20 miles apart, which was the distance a loaded camel could travel in a day. We are here to attend a prayer meeting, but this Caravista is used by the whirling dervishes. The service could not be filmed, but photography was allowed afterwards. Around 100 of these underground towns have been discovered, and there may be more still to be found. Here our guide is showing us how a hole in the cave floor would have been used as a fire. This would have been covered with a metal sheet so that bread could have been baked. The largest of these towns could hold 20,000 people. The towns were dug out of the rock between the 1st and 10th centuries, when Christians were fleeing persecution. The entrances and air vents would have been hidden with vegetation. Millstones were used to block the passages against intruders. There is little industry in this part of Turkey, and these ladies have been trained to make and sell dolls dressed in traditional costume. The women are very aggressive salespeople. Dare to buy a doll from a rival and you get cursed and abused. Luckily in Turkish, so you have no idea what is being said. The Valley of the Monks is known for the strange shape of the rock formations. These are called fairy chimneys because of their chimney shape and the fact that fairies were once thought to inhabit them. This area was surrounded millennia ago by 3 large volcanoes. The volcanic ash formed a layer many meters deep, with a soft yellow layer at the bottom and a thin brown layer at the top. Millions of years of rain and wind have eroded much of the ash, but left behind these strange fairy chimneys. Gnome Open Air Museum was originally a settlement of monks. It is made up of dwellings for the monks and a large number of cave churches. Each church was large enough to have a congregation of about 20 or 30. The religious paintings in the churches are very intricate. Surprisingly, the days of cave dwelling are not over. Visitors would like to experience what it would have been like. So amongst the centuries-old dwellings, new 21st century rock houses and even rock hotels are being built.
Turkey was perhaps one of the first countries to have blocks of flats or skyscrapers. All over Cappadocia there are huge hills of stone which have been hollowed out. Inside can be found cave apartments. This is one you can still go inside. Modern iron steps have replaced the original soft stone stairway between the different levels.
Over the centuries, tens of thousands, perhaps even hundreds of thousands of people, ordinary citizens and monks, must have lived in the rock dwellings of Cappadocia. Cave dwellings are everywhere in uncountable numbers. In many places, new towns and villages have been built on top of the ruins of the old. Hills hollowed out centuries ago have been piled up with houses and flats in an unregulated heap. You'll feel that at some point the undermined and overloaded hills will collapse under the weight. This is another Caravista, which has been restored to give some idea of how it may have looked originally, although it would not have looked so clean and tidy as this. Camel herders bringing silk and spices from Asia would have arrived dusty, and the smell of the camels, which were stalled in the same building, would have been appalling. The Caravistas were fortified, as cargoes of silk and spices were highly valued. A highlight of any trip to Cappadocia is a balloon flight over the mountains. This is a huge industry with up to 150 balloons up in the air at any one time. Luckily for the owners of the balloons, conditions here are ideal. Of the 365 days in a year, in this area around 300 are suitable for ballooning.